Your brain knows junk food is unhealthy. It knows scrolling social media for 3 hours isn't making your life better. It knows procrastinating today will make tomorrow harder. And yet, it keeps pulling you back. Again, and again, and again. Most people think this means they're weak. They think they lack discipline. They think some people simply have more self-control than others. But that's not the real reason. Because your brain isn't failing when it chooses bad habits. In many ways, it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And the real reason is much stranger than most people realize. Because your brain doesn't care about making you successful. It doesn't care about helping you achieve your goals. It doesn't even care about making you happy. Your brain has a completely different priority. And once you understand what that priority is, bad habits start making a lot more sense. To understand why bad habits are so powerful, we need to go back a very long time. For almost all of human history, life was uncertain. Food was scarce. Predators were everywhere. A small mistake could mean death. Your ancestors weren't trying to build businesses, get six-pack abs, or become productive. They were trying to survive until tomorrow. And survival required one thing above all else: energy. Every decision your brain made was shaped by a simple question. Will this help keep me alive? If the answer was yes, your brain rewarded you. If the answer was no, it ignored it. This system worked remarkably well. The problem is that the world your brain evolved for no longer exists. Take food as an example. For ancient humans, high-calorie food was incredibly valuable. Finding honey, ripe fruit, or animal fat was rare. These foods provided enormous amounts of energy. So the brain evolved a reward system that encouraged people to seek them out whenever possible. When you found something calorie-dense, your brain rewarded you. You felt good. You wanted more. And that increased your chances of survival. The system worked perfectly. 30,000 years ago. Today, that same system is surrounded by fast food, candy, and ultra-processed snacks available every hour of every day. Your brain still responds the same way. The environment changed. The software didn't. But food is only part of the story, because there's a chemical that sits at the center of nearly every habit you'll ever have: dopamine. And most people completely misunderstand what dopamine actually does. People often call dopamine the pleasure chemical, but neuroscientists now know that's not entirely accurate. Dopamine isn't really about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It's about motivation. It's about making you want something. Imagine you're walking through the forest thousands of years ago. You spot a tree covered in fruit. Your brain releases dopamine, not because you've eaten the fruit yet, but because it wants you to move toward it. Dopamine pushes behavior. It creates desire. It motivates action. And that's where things start to get interesting. Because modern technology has learned how to trigger that system incredibly well. Think about social media. Every time you refresh your feed, something new might appear. A funny video, a message, a notification, a like, or maybe nothing. You don't know. And that's exactly what makes it powerful. Because your brain loves uncertainty. In psychology, this is called a variable reward system. And it's one of the most effective behavior-shaping mechanisms ever discovered. Slot machines use it. Casinos use it. Social media uses it. You never know when the reward is coming, so your brain keeps checking. Just one more time, then one more, then one more. Before you realize it, an hour is gone. But here's the strange part. The reward often isn't even that good. Have you ever picked up your phone, opened 3 apps, found nothing interesting, and then repeated the process 5 minutes later? Most people have. The reward wasn't valuable, yet the behavior continued. Why? Because dopamine isn't rewarding the outcome. It's rewarding the possibility. Your brain becomes addicted to the search, not necessarily the thing being searched for. And once a behavior becomes connected to anticipation, habits become incredibly difficult to break. But dopamine alone isn't enough to explain everything. There's another reason bad habits become so powerful. Efficiency. Your brain is obsessed with efficiency. Despite making up only about 2% of your body weight, your brain consumes roughly 20% of your energy. It's expensive to run. So whenever possible, your brain tries to automate behaviors. This is where habits come from. At first, a behavior requires effort. You have to think about it. But after enough repetition, the brain starts building shortcuts. Neural pathways become stronger. The behavior becomes automatic. Eventually, you stop making a conscious decision at all. You simply do it. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't spend much time debating whether to do it. You just do it. The habit runs automatically. This is useful when the habit helps you. But the exact same mechanism works for harmful behaviors too. Checking your phone, biting your nails, eating when you're bored, procrastinating important tasks. The brain doesn't distinguish between good habits and bad habits. It only asks one question. Have we done this enough times before? If the answer is yes, it tries to automate it, because automation saves energy. And that's where many people get stuck. They assume bad habits are caused by weak willpower, but often they're simply deeply learned behaviors. Your brain isn't choosing the habit every time. It's running a program that may have been reinforced hundreds or even thousands of times. Now here's where things become even more uncomfortable. Because modern companies understand this better than most people do. Entire industries are built around capturing your attention. Engineers study human behavior. Psychologists study reward systems. Algorithms learn what keeps you engaged. Not because they want to improve your life, because attention is valuable. The longer you stay, the more money they make. And the most effective way to keep people engaged is to continuously trigger the brain's reward system. Infinite scrolling, autoplay videos, notifications, streaks, recommendations. Each feature seems harmless on its own, but together they create an environment that your brain was never designed to handle. Imagine giving an ancient human unlimited access to sugar, unlimited entertainment, unlimited novelty, unlimited social validation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's essentially what modern life has become, and your brain responds exactly the way evolution predicts it would, by wanting more. This is why breaking bad habits often feels so difficult. You're not fighting against laziness. You're not fighting against weakness. You're fighting against millions of years of evolutionary programming that evolved in a world where every reward was scarce, a world where seeking rewards increased survival, a world that no longer exists. But this doesn't mean you're powerless. In fact, understanding the system gives you an advantage. Because once you realize that habits are driven by cues, rewards, and repetition, you can begin changing the environment around you. You can make good habits easier. You can make bad habits harder. You can remove triggers, reduce temptation, create friction, and slowly teach your brain new patterns. The same machinery that creates bad habits can also create good ones. The brain doesn't care which path it learns. It simply strengthens whatever path gets repeated. And that leads to a surprising conclusion. Your brain is not your enemy. It never was. The part of you that craves junk food, the part of you that procrastinates, the part of you that wants comfort instead of effort. Those systems weren't designed to sabotage you. They were designed to keep your ancestors alive. For hundreds of thousands of years, they worked incredibly well. The problem is that those ancient survival systems are now operating in a world filled with endless rewards. A world they were never built for. So the next time you find yourself stuck in a bad habit, remember this. The issue isn't that your brain is broken. The issue is that your brain is ancient. It's running software written for a completely different world. In understanding, that may be the first step toward taking control of it. Because when you stop seeing bad habits as a personal failure, you can finally start seeing them for what they really are. Ancient survival instincts trying to solve modern problems. And sometimes, the hardest thing your brain can learn is that it no longer lives in the world it was designed for.